Get ready, boys.
It's the afternoon again. They're home again for the first time in 2 weeks. And we're here, except for Sam, who's over there. But let's talk to them and get you ready for another matinee. And it's a big one today. Stars and Lightning from the AAC. This is the pregame show right here on DLLS. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the DLLS Stars Pregame Show. As we welcome you inside the lounge studios, we have Craig Ludwig. I'm Owen Newkirk, our producer Ryan Fodders, and back at the AAC for the first time in 2 full weeks, we have the back of the head of Sam Nestler. Hi, Sam.
Sorry, I'm waving to people.
He's a man of the people.
He is a man of distraction. That's a squirrel drop. If
He's
you ever
waving
need
at
one,
people.
Ryan.
You must be standing up on a chair or something like that so they can see you.
I love it. Sam, does it feel weird? It's been literally 14 days since the team played a home game, and now they're back for another matinee. They played Montreal in the afternoon on a Sunday, January 4th. Now they're playing the Tampa Bay Lightning. You've been in studio with us. We've been in StreamYard games, late night, East Coast, West Coast, all over the place. How's the destroyer of porcelain, as Big Dad Russ says in the chat, feel about this afternoon?
Yeah, it's good to be back. It felt weird because, as you guys know, the team is kind of, our schedule is their schedule, right? Especially for me, I have to go to everything, all the practices. So it's pretty much wake up. What are the Stars doing today? That's where I go. And the past 2 weeks has been kind of whatever we are doing in studio. And then when do we have a game and where are we streaming our show from? So it's been good to go to practice yesterday and then be back here today. It's Kids Day here today for the matinee. So a lot of kids, actually a lot of Lightning jerseys as well in this lower bowl for warm up. So it should be fun. The only thing I have is it's a little cold in here today and I don't have a jacket. So that's my only bone to pick so far today.
Imagine that. It's cold inside a hockey rink on a relatively chilly Texas January day.
Soft. I need that. I need
right?
the vest from Luds there.
Yeah. He's prepared. That's the thing that people in the South don't realize about people from the North is that it's not just a cold tolerance. We layer. Yeah. We dress the part. We have boots. We have gloves. We have hats and scarves. And then you get out of the cold when it's really cold.
And I'm going to a rink after we're done today. So I'm getting, on, off.
You're prepared. You have those extra
things. Then I'm going to go someplace where it's probably about 72 and sunny.
Oh, how about that?
It always is in a bar, isn't it? Always 72 and sunny. Yeah.
What
was that show? What was that?
Always Sunny in
Philadelphia. There you go.
Yeah.
Something about Philadelphia.
And they are
nice
the nicest human beings on the planet, those characters.
Just got to dodge a couple bullets here and there.
Sam, let's talk about another Sam Steele, because there was a lot of chatter yesterday about who plays where at practice. Luds and I just listened to Gully again because he had digested it and had a few thoughts, and so I watched it again after reading some stuff from yesterday. Where are you at right now with where the Stars are dealing with who plays where and why?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think we're in a position where whoever's on that top line with Wyatt Johnston and Mikko Rantanen right now is a placeholder. The team, I wrote about this morning, they don't have options.
Oh, there goes Sam. He just dropped hard.
That's not quite fade to black.
That wasn't the
what that's supposed
slide
to be like.
in. That was the fall off. Do you think he fell into the upper bowl?
And he finally said, "Going to be honest here." What do you think he was going to say?
Oh, do you think that the Stars overlords cut him off and we don't want to hear the truth?
So what was everybody saying about Sam Steele? I don't read that stuff.
They were just
the same stuff they've been saying all year.
You were saying the same thing, which is the fans don't like Sam Steele on the top line, but Gully seems to think there's more chemistry between Steele, Rantanen, and Johnston than Matt Duchene, Rantanen, and Wyatt.
I agree. I mean, I think that Matt has made it public and said it out loud that he wants to play with those guys, but I'll let Sam take over.
Go ahead, Sam. Try again.
So, you know how I told you guys my brother has a thing of just calling me on our show every single day. Well, he just FaceTimed me, and that's why it cut me off the screen. So, Andrew, if you're listening, stop calling me. I'm doing a show. But the Stars are in a
Sam,
position where they have.
there's this feature called Do Not Disturb.
I have it on too, but he's an emergency bypass. So anyway, we're moving on.
I turn
here.
that feature on as soon as I walk in this studio every day.
The Stars are in a spot where they basically have 5 offensively skilled forwards, right? They have the top 5 guys, and then they have a bunch of guys that are either right in that mix of could play top 6 like a Maverick Bork, or are true bottom 6 players. Because of that, because they didn't replace all the skill they lost last year, there's not really an answer. It's not like, okay, why is this guy playing down there and Sam Steele's playing up there? It's just we've seen Sam Steele up there. It hasn't really worked. Sam Steele has had trouble converting the chances he's gotten from Johnson and Rantanen. So I think fans are just looking for something different. And I wrote about Justin Ritzkovian being that answer. We've seen Matt Duchene up there before. And the realistic way to look at it is there's no real good answer. But we asked Glenn Goldson yesterday about it, and he said he's actually really liked the chemistry with Sam Steele. So they do like it. And we've talked about it on our show before. Sam Steele has tremendous value for this team. He's won over 2 different coaching staffs that give him opportunities up the lineup. They clearly see something in what Sam Steele brings to that line. But on the flip side, they've tried other things. We've seen Duchene that was up there, and that didn't work at all. Now, many of us believe that that's because Duchene was on the left wing, which is basically the opposite of what they need for him to get the best out of his game. But we've seen other options. So I think for right now, that's what we're going to see. Sam Steele is going to be on the top line. They're going to keep it there, and they're going to together that kind of blends together. And then the worst part of it is with that same depth, if you stack up your top line, let's say it's Duchene up there, or you move up someone that's on that line. Robertson plays up there with Johnston and Rantanen. All of a sudden, your other lines are looking really thin. And right now, the Stars are opting to kind of spread the wealth a little bit, not completely stack up their top line, because then you got 2 on your second line, or 1 and 1 as your second and third. The team would love to be able to put Rope Hintz, Wyatt Johnston, Matt Duchene, and Radek Faksa down the center of the line. But right now, they don't have nearly enough wings to support those guys and bring them offense. So we're going to see Sam Steele on the left wing again, and I believe we're going to see Matt Duchene on the right side of Robertson and Hintz, because they've liked that as well.
Let's take a look at the lineup as Sam just described that, the forwards up front, because as we saw from yesterday's practice report via Sam, the Quebec line is back together. Now, they played a bit in the last game in Utah. Sam, do you think this is a worthy option right now?
Yeah, I do. I think Glenn Goldson talked about it yesterday about Maverick Bork in general. And he mentioned this line and said it's looked good. It's more of a defensive role, which it should be, right? You look at the players that are out there, they're more of the two-way. Oscar Beck's a really good defensive player. Ritzkovian's kind of a 200-foot guy. So that's not really going to be a line that's driving offense. However, we've seen in the past, they have had good possession and they've created some chances. I forget one of the games here before the Christmas break, they were one of the better lines in the whole game. So they do have that ability. And like I just mentioned before, right now for Glenn Goldson, it's more important finding a spot for Matt Duchene. He talked for a while yesterday about Duchene center versus wing, where he should go to get the most out of his game. Why, they don't want him on the wing for too long, because as Leds has talked about, he stops his feet. He's got to play along the wall. It takes away from his game. So Goldson was really open about we're going to use him everywhere. And I think right now the option is to let's open up a little offense, because Duchene has started to look a little bit better since coming back from his concussion. We've seen a glimpse here and there. He had a really good game against Utah. Keep him with skill. We know that he gets a little extra gear when he's playing with some high-level, top skill guys. They're going to keep him up there, and they're going to see what Maverick Bork can do on that line. They need Maverick Bork to provide that second level of offense we haven't seen. I know it sounds like a broken record, but we've seen progress. He's looked better. Goldson even mentioned it yesterday. We need to see that little extra offense. Maybe he can score a goal today with the Quebec line.
Finally, let's talk about shots, because Luds was just tickled pink about you getting cut off in yesterday's media availability, because Gully was very quick to jump on the question before you had even finished about shots on net.
Yeah, so I purposely asked players before Goldson, because I knew, sometimes this was big with Pete DeBoer, who sometimes just didn't want to answer certain questions, or, I'd heard enough about a certain thing. So you ask the players first, then you ask the coach. That's kind of how we got the disconnect between Brendan Smith and Pete DeBoer that we talked about last year. So I asked Wyatt Johnston first and foremost yesterday. I said, what do you think of the shots? What do you guys are, I think they're 27th now because of a couple upticks, but they were 29 or 30th of 32 teams in shots per game. They've been that way all season. The key for them early on was that they were getting the goaltending on top of the league. They were getting the power play on top of the league. Their shooting percentage was far and away the best in the NHL. Now the problem is those shots are still low. They finished the first period against Utah, I think, with 5. The shots are still low, right around 24, 25 a game. Power play was 0 for 8 before they scored against Utah. So that hit a little bit of a bumpy road and has over the past, 20 games. The shooting percentage is down all the way to 22nd since before the Christmas break. So way different shooting percentage. And we're not seeing the best, most consistent goaltending that we saw early on. Jake's been great the last 2 games. Hopefully he's great again here today. However, it hasn't been the consistent level of their stealing games. So with that, you can't look at it and say it's a coincidence that they've lost 9 of 11, right? That's those line up with those stats. And right now, I truly believe not just to get shots on goal and be the Carolina Hurricanes, but to create a little chaos, right? Create a little scrum, get the defense out of their positioning because they're going to have to turn, locate you, tie up sticks, find the puck, protect their goalie. It just creates a lot more in the defensive end than just trying to pass the puck through the box. And then when you do get a chance, making that extra pass. So Wyatt said, we've talked about it. We love the chances we are creating, and we've shown the shot maps on our show. When they do create, it's from the high danger slot area. That's great. But he said we also want to get a little more quantity because we don't want to just give the puck away to the other team in those situations. We understand we have skill. We can create the top level plays, but we also want to get a little more chaotic around the net and increase that quantity and not be near the bottom of the league. So it was a balancing thing for Wyatt. And that was the answer I was expecting. And then I asked Golitzin, and as Leds knows, before I got halfway through the question, Golitzin jumped right in and started saying, I basically asked, is that a conversation you're having? That's all I was asking. And he said, no, not anymore, because we were this way all year. We were this way when we were, 17-5 or whatever the start was, and we're this way now. And to me, I didn't love that answer because what I just mentioned is they were 17-5 for other reasons. It's not like 20 shots on goal is what was winning them all those games early on. It was the other things that were happening. I just think there needs to be more of a balance. They don't need to put 40 shots on net from all areas and take away the skill from their team, but they do need to create a little more chaos around the net. And I think just upticking that to 28 to 30 shots a game where you're not finishing periods with 4 or 5, that could go a long way to not only scoring more, creating more chaos, and drawing more penalties, because this team is 27th in the NHL and drawing penalties per 60. They need to uptick all those things, and I think shots will help.
All right, Sam, enjoy Kids Day. I'll see you over there in a little while. Thanks very much. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, boys.
There you go, Sam Nestler from American Airlines Center. I was going to have him turn around, Luds, because apparently there's a huge contingency of Tampa Bay fans. Here's the photo that the Lightning just sent out.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a few folks down at the AAC for the warm-up that's about to start. But we'll talk about that and all that in just a little bit. It looks like, Luds, that this team is still searching for its rhythm post-Christmas.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind when Sam was talking about 17-5 or whatever, they were talking about that record. I'd love to know what the power play percentage was during that period, because said this all year long. The power play has been really good, and now they've hit a bit of a dry spell. But, I had said to you before the show started, and I'm checking in on our U18 team, from the standpoint, I understand what Wyatt's saying, and they're all right. Nobody's wrong here. But what I would do with our players, our young guys, is I would challenge them per period to just put up 13 to 15 shots. That's it. 13, and that includes power play and things like that. Because when you think about it, that's only about half of your team getting a shot per period. So it's not like all 18 guys had to get a shot. And so at the end of that, you're looking at 39. And they're not going to get 13 feet, but you may get 12 or 13 or 11, but that ends up being 33 to 34 shots a game, where I don't know where Dallas is now, 25, 27, whatever. But what happens then is they're starting, and once they buy into that challenge, they actually will pay attention to the shot clock and say, guys, we only got 7 or 8 shots. We got to get some more. So it's kind of in their head. And like they all said, that you can still get your shots from the perimeter, but what it does, it takes a lot of indecision away from the other two players that, okay, are we making a pass here? Is he going here? So when you know you're on a shot mentality, you're driving to the net. Now all of a sudden you're getting those ugly goals or rebound goals. And I don't know where they are in rebound goals for, but I've looked at it at time to time. They're not in the top of the league because a lot of their goals come off of pretty plays.
And good first shots.
And again, we're past that point in the season where word is out. They're really good, and they like to make extra passes. So as a defenseman, you definitely play them different. I start looking for backdoor. I start looking for things through the seam, and I'll allow this guy because when a player is looking for a backdoor or a seam, what happens is their feet don't stop. Their speed doesn't stop. Their feet may stop, but they keep on moving forward. The more they move forward down the wings is what I'm saying. You're getting to a worse and worse shooting angle. Your goaltender's going, let him coast down here. Let him keep looking. Now I have a better opportunity to make that save than when he's out in that higher area. So I think it touches a lot of areas when you end up getting some more rubber to the net.
So let's pause. We'll do our quick ad break. When I come back, you know what we haven't talked about for 30 minutes? Well, for 15 minutes at least? Miro Heiskanen. He's back. Talk about him and a lot more next here on the DLLS Stars Pregame Show.
Now, I'm guessing this is my part because I haven't seen anything for today. So I'm assuming I'm going to talk about the hats and the shirts and everything else.
You're right.
So with what Owen just said, we need to start with the Mafia shirt because they are now back intact.
Look at
Miro is back. So the Fab Four are back in play today. And this is the number one selling shirt, and they are the number one selling finish four in the NHL when they play together. So it would be nice to have Miro back today. And that is an excellent looking hoodie. And you could probably use it today in the next couple days. So let's do that. And as long as I heard his Wyatt's name, let's get the 16-bit one up there, Ryan. I think that we need to get Wyatt Johnston going. And I'm not talking about the power play, but Sam brought his name up, and I think Wyatt can be a little bit more visible during games. And regardless of who he's going to be playing with, it's Matt Duchene or I don't know. Maybe it's going to be Blackwell. I don't know who he's going to be playing with, but Wyatt be Wyatt. And the other area for Wyatt is, I think, on the faceoff dots. He's kind of dropped off in the faceoff circle. I think he's below 50% now. Takes a lot of faceoffs, and I think that can go a long way for this team too.
Thank you, Luds. Let's talk about the Supporters Club because I know Ardell loves to throw that Luds emoji out in the chat, and you can see his Supporters Club badge right there in the chat. So if you are one of the sickos, and we say that endearingly, if you like to be in the chat a lot, if you're watching our live show, you should sign up to be a Supporters Club member because you will get access to all those extra emojis. You'll stand out with your SC badge. Big Dad Russ is in there now. You guys, oh yeah, look at that. Bing Bong, Luds, and the Stanley Cone all being thrown out as we speak. So check that out. It's a great way to add just a little extra layer to your DLLS game because we notice you a little bit more. All right, let's talk about Miro Heiskanen because all those things that are, forwards and where they play and lines and scoring is all good. To me, the number one story of today is Dallas gets Miro Heiskanen back. He is their best player. Look, I know Mikko Rantanen is unbelievable. I know Jake Oettinger is very important to this team. Rope Hintz is a very good player. Jason Robertson is their leading goal scorer. But you could see the impact of not having Miro Heiskanen in the last two games out for a personal leave.
The players that you just mentioned are very happy having him back because of the way that Miro brings the puck through the neutral zone, out of his zone to the neutral zone. His first passes when he does is generally right on the tape. But again, his speed through the neutral zone breaks down coverage and his ability to kind of go east-west whenever he does go east-west. Normally it's north-south the way he skates, but what happens because of his speed, somebody has to come to Miro once he gets across his own blue line and he starts getting into the neutral zone. Coverage has to collect to him, and it kind of gravitates to him, which opens up, whether it's Mikko on one side or Hintz coming up through the middle of the ice. It opens up more pockets there because of their coverage. You can't just allow a Heiskanen to skate from one end of the rink to the other, to the offensive blue line. And again, you're giving up ice there. So that to me, that's the biggest thing. And then obviously the way that Miro moves on the offensive blue line, especially when he plays his offside. All this talk about Miro getting back to the left. I think he's so dangerous over there because he's so good collecting pucks off the wall on his backhand. He gets it to his forehand. He takes one stride, and he's in a good shooting lane.
Yep. Now, another Finn having a big milestone today, and the other guy we talk about being maybe the Stars' best players, Mikko Rantanen. 700 today, Lutz. That typically, when you hit big milestones like that, means money on the board. But this guy who has spent most of his career, of course, with the Colorado Avalanche, and when I say most of, 619 of 699 games in the 10-year period with the Avs, 13 games with Carolina, now 67 regular season games for Dallas, and he's at more than a point a game pace for his career. I think that's really, really stands out.
Yeah, and you look at it and you understand why he picked up all those points playing in Colorado, right? With the McCarrs and all the guys that they have there. McKinnon's on that role, but the cast that he had there. So I think it was a pretty easy, hey, I don't like being in Carolina move to come to Dallas when you look around what Dallas has here, and he's just picking up in that same thing. And Gully mentioned again today, they were asking about penalty minutes and things like that. And there's a fine line for me with Mikko as far as penalty. I mean, to me, as a leader, I think he is the leader on this team right now. When he plays with an edge, everybody else follows. But there are times when he tries to do too much.
A little bit of that superhero.
Well,
move.
Yeah, he's trying to lead the guys. And so all of a sudden, and that happened like a week ago, he starts running out of the spots that you're supposed to be in. He starts running around. He wants to get the hit. He wants to get the puck. He wants to make the play. But again, it's just as much on the supporting cast to do their job and their part of it than it is Mikko. But to me, he's the guy that carries the flag every day into battle. I mean, when he comes out on the ice, that's the guy that's going to lead this team right now offensively. And he also has to be that guy defensively. And we've noticed that in the last 2 or 3 games. We've seen Mikko coming from all the way down by the faceoff dots in the offensive zone, being the first guy back coming into his zone. So I think he's doing everything that he possibly can.
All right, let's take a look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, because this team is arguably the hottest team in the league right now. Some people say it's the Buffalo Sabres. They've been on a tear, but the Lightning just came off of a franchise record 11-game winning streak. They had not lost a game since December 20th until they dropped the shootout game in St. Louis on Friday night. That snapped the 11-game winning streak, but they're on a 12-game point streak. 11-0-1. Luds, they were 5th in the division in the Atlantic and 10th in the conference on December 19th. Now they are 29-13-4. They are 1st in the division, 2nd in the conference, and they are, as Gully said in his presser yesterday, just behind, 1 point behind the Stars for the second best record in the league.
Yeah, they are a top team and without their top players in the lineup. I mean, when you look at the guys that are out of the lineup, Hedman's going to be a Hall of Famer. McDonough, couple cups with them, moved away, bring him back. His plus minus is 290 in his career. Oof. Okay, and then the other one is Braden Point.
Yep.
So let's just say you take Hedman, let's put Miro over there. You take McDonough, let's put Essa there. And then you take Point and let's put Wyatt there. Okay, similar players.
It's a huge
Take
gap.
those 3 guys out of this lineup. Do you think they're going to do what this team has done? And so my get on your pulpit or on your podium is for John Cooper again. I have no idea how this guy has not won a Coach of the Year
longest
award.
tenured NHL coach.
But this guy, just hit 1,000, didn't he? Was it 7,000 games or something like that?
Something
Coached,
like that.
I think
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. But anyway, he has done so much. I look down the middle. Can you pull their lineup for a second, Brad? So look down the middle of their lineup, and let's just compare it to Dallas. Cirelli, okay. Paul, Gord, Finley. I'm just saying those are not household names. Now Cirelli's going to be an Olympian, I believe, right? He's going to make that. Coop loves him, loves what he does. And then on the wings, you've got Kucherov and Hagel, as I said, again, and Jake Gensel. The rest of that team is, they're good players. I mean, again, I would say it's kind of similar to Dallas's bottom 6 when you look at a lot of this. But look at what that team has done. Yes, they have Vasilevskiy, and I think he's playing better as a goaltender. He's playing better than he has. But then you go ahead to their defensemen. And this is where I was talking about. Okay, now, I know you're going to talk about Radish.
Yes.
Radish has got the same amount of points. And you might wonder who Radish is, besides something in your garden. I'm telling you that this guy here is going to get a big ticket at the end of the year, wherever it's from or not. But again, Radish has got Miro Heiskanen numbers, almost identical numbers as he does, except he's got more goals. He's their power play guy. All of a sudden, he can do everything for this team. And then, of course, Vasilevskiy. But otherwise, Carlisle, Crozier, Chernak is, heavy. disastrous or whatever his name is, Mosier, and then Radish. And again, you kind of go ahead and you plug in the Stars lineup, but look at what the head coach and his staff has done with this team.
Well, I think that you made a great point there, and we have to bring up Darren Radish because of the injury to Victor Hedman and Emil Lilleberg, and Ryan McDonough. 3 of their top 6 defensemen have been out of the lineup for a significant amount of time. For McDonough and Hedman, most of the year. Yeah. They haven't played a lot. Think about this. Darren Radish only played in 7 of the team's first 13 games this year. He was healthy scratched for 6 of them. In his first 11 games, he averaged 14 minutes of time on ice. He had 3 points in 11 games. He was -4. Victor Hedman gets hurt on November 8th. He hasn't played a regular game. He came back and played 3, but really hasn't been since a regular contributor in the lineup. He's on LTIR with an elbow injury. Darren Radish's ice time has jumped 10 minutes per game. He's averaging in the last, basically, he went from 14th on the team in time on ice per game to first. 24 minutes, 16 seconds average from November 16th to the present. And he has, in those 29 games, 38 points, 11 goals, plus 21. That's 1.31 points per game. And he leads the team with 6 power play goals during that span. And if that's not enough, Luds, he's a guy that makes $950,000 on the second year of a 2-year contract. He's 29. This is the first contract he's had that hasn't been at the league minimum for the NHL. And as Julian Brisebois, as GM, said, he's in for a life-changing contract, but he's going to have to wait.
He's just not sure where it's going to be
at the end of the season, right? Because he's a 29-year-old right-handed defenseman having a extremely big career breakout year. And there are lots of teams looking for offensively inclined 24-minute right shot defenseman.
Yeah, and
Dallas Stars are included.
He's sitting in your backyard, so I don't know why he wouldn't, end up there. And I'm sure he loves playing in Tampa Bay. But anyway, it's a great story. It's a great story for a player that's paid his dues. And yes, of course, he's playing with Kucherov and Point and guys like that. They're playing with some great players, but he is taking advantage of his opportunity.
So that leads us to the goaltending battle as we look at Vasilevskiy versus Oettinger today. This is obviously Jake has looked up to Andrei Vasilevskiy. Vasilevskiy has been the gold standard for a while now. Basically, I think the mantle went from Carey Price to Vasilevskiy. Now, in the last few years, is it Shesterkin? Is it Connor Hellebuck? Is it even Ilya Sorokin? Because
it's Sorokin this year.
He's been really good this year so far. That's that's where Jake wants to be. That's where he's trying to get to.
Well, what I will say about Vasilevskiy is he reminds me of a couple other guys, and that being Patrick Waugh and Eddie Belfour. Because, and from the standpoint of, and I've kind of went back and forth with Coop with this thing. If Vasi's not having a good game, and he's given up 3 or 4 or 5 goals in a period, and Coop gives him the hook, he gives him the, no, not coming. I'm standing right here. And I've asked him about it. I said, when you're trying to pull him and he doesn't come, what do? He goes, you just keep playing because he's not coming, because he's just a competitor. And I think, like I said earlier, I think that the last year and a half or so, I didn't think he was up to the standards that he has when he was winning the cups and doing everything for him. But watching some of their games of late, he seems to be back. But he does have those games. Mm-hmm. He has those games when it doesn't. I'm just curious, like if that would have happened to Monty and it kind of did happen to Monty in St. Louis. Yeah, but he doesn't have. This guy's got a little bit more clout.
Joel Hofer hiding in the back.
What would happen if Pete DeBoer was coaching him? Would he come? Like Jake wouldn't have left the net.
I'm guessing
Vassy wouldn't have left the net. I'm staying right here. No, I'm going back, coach.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's for a different day.
All right, quick look at the Stars' defensive pairings because we have the lineup from Sam at the warm-up just to be sure. Lundqvist with Harley, not Lyubushkin. We thought that was how it looked in practice yesterday, but they have Coco Cabana, a.k.a. Capo Bianco, playing with Lyubushkin, Harley, Lundqvist. Luds, they're searching right now. They have been juggling, trying to find viable pairs besides Lindell and Heiskanen, but you feel a lot better with those two.
Well, I think what they're trying to find is somebody to play with Harley.
Yeah,
and again, Thomas Harley's finding Thomas Harley.
They may need to find that person in the trade market.
Yeah, well, the guy that you guys want, there's one team that's got exclusive rights to anyway,
do you also see the farewell hugs in the Saddle Dome the other night?
Yeah, and there's one team that allowed to negotiate with them right now. Only one team.
Is that Boston?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I think where the problem is here, not the problem. Well, yeah, it's a problem. Is Lyubushkin and Petro. Are they the two that are starting to rotate? And Lyubushkin was not a guy that would be rotating in and out, which probably says more about Lyubushkin than it does Petro. But again, Petro gets the, hey, get a house, stay here kind of thing. So that to me, you've got, and I think we've seen progress from Thomas Harley, right? I mean, we've seen a couple games now where he seems to be putting it together. Hopefully that's happening at the right time of the year. But yeah, they've got to get the other three kind of sorted out somehow.
All right, it's Kids Day over at the AAC. That's their big promotion. Let's see if the grown-ups show up to play. First game at home after a long road trip, 3 time zones, both coasts, and it's the 1 o'clock start, which we know Luds loves.
Well, not thanks to Kim. Somehow, I don't know, all of a sudden at like 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, I was getting one of these things with Crown and Coke in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that bottle's empty. So anyways, let's get through this game. Let's go.
Right.
We're playing guilty today, boys.
Let's go.
And girls.
Enjoy. We'll see you for postgame right here on DLLS.
I believe that they are going to crush these guys tonight. Oh, Lord Jesus. Are you serious? Where to...
We all silly like the mayor.